Hello and welcome to TLED 677, which is the Advanced Child Theory course. My name is Maggie Charlton. I'm going to be your instructor for this course. And what I have found in online classes is that by making a weekly video, it gives me the opportunity to interact with you, but to also introduce the subject matter, go over anything that's in Blackboard that you're going to be working on, explain assignments when they are introduced. But because the only way that we have to communicate is through the computer, I like for my courses to be as interactive as possible and as much of a community as we can make on Blackboard. So this week, as you are doing your discussion board introductions, it's our first opportunity to create this community within Blackboard. And so I hope that you will take the time to not only post your own introduction with a picture if possible, but also start to interact with your classmates. Many of you may have already had classes together, and so you already know each other, but there may be some new people to the mix. And by the time you finish this course, I want you to feel like you had the chance to interact with all of your classmates. If you read through my introduction, my biography, you're going to find that I graduated from ODU with my master's. I won't tell you what year because it was a long time ago, but this was a course that I actually took, so I know what it is that you're feeling. I don't know about you, but I was never one who was overly fond of theory. And most of the time it was because I felt like we were never able to really put it into practice. So my goal for this course is really for you, not just to get more in depth with each of the theorists that we're going to study, but really start thinking about how you can apply these theories in the classroom. You are very close to the end of your program, so this is a great time to start to take what's in our textbooks and actually start to apply it in the real world. So you will find that all of the assignments that I'm asking you to do are meant to be very practical, something that you can actually use as you are in the classroom or are going into the classroom. So what I wanted to do for this first video was just kind of show you how I have Blackboard set up for you and explain how the course is going to run. So when you go into Blackboard, each Monday, there's going to be a new announcement for you. So this first announcement was rather lengthy, but it was just so that you could find out what we were doing in the course, get you started on everything, but the rest of the announcements won't be nearly that lengthy. So every Monday morning, expect to get an email saying that there is a new announcement in this course. So as I said, that in my announcement here, we're actually going to run the course from Monday to Sunday every week. I don't know why the semester actually was started on a Saturday, but for whatever reason, we're going to start our weeks on Mondays. And then anything that is due that week will be due by midnight on Sunday evening. So when you go into Blackboard, you're going to find that it will come straight to your announcements. When you go into the course information, this is where this video is. First steps, the syllabus, the schedule, all of that is in this link. So if I were you, I would print out the course schedule. The syllabus has some good information in there about the weighting of the grades and assignments, but this calendar is going to keep you on track so that you know each week what it is you're supposed to be reading, if I'm going to be introducing an assignment, if an assignment is due, the journal that you're going to be working on. So I'm very much a type A kind of person, so I like for everything just to be in one place and really organized. And so that's what this course schedule is for. When you also look in the course information, you will find here's my biography if you are interested in reading about me and my educational career as well as my family. That's in this folder, and then really for this, just make sure that you have this textbook. It's actually not a very expensive textbook, which is fantastic, since most textbooks are ridiculously expensive, but you are going to need this book. What I will tell you about this textbook is it's very user-friendly when it comes to theories. So the chapters are not overly long, but I really like how they have the chapters set up. They kind of give you an overview of the theorist, they give you personal background, but then they also start to talk about how can we actually analyze and critique this theory, how can it be used in the classroom. And as I said, I think that's really important as you are getting ready to go into the classroom, is to be able to take this knowledge and figure out what I agree with the different theorists that I want to use in my classroom, and then to also start to figure out what you don't agree with. That's just as valuable a lesson as what you do want to use. So just make sure that you have this textbook. Anything else that you are going to read or view, I will provide for you. So just make sure that you have this going forward, and I think that you will be fine. So all of that is found in the course information. Then when you go down to the weekly course content, you're going to find that every Monday there's going to be a new folder that's going to be open for you. Now, the reason that I don't open them all at once is because what I have found over the years is that sometimes it gets really overwhelming. And especially when you're looking at something different each week, I really want you to take the time to concentrate on that particular theorist. It's really easy sometimes to just want to plow through everything, but then you're not taking the time to actually digest what it is that you're reading or you have viewed, and take the time to analyze it and discover how you want to apply it or not apply it. So every Monday morning, each folder will be open to you, and each folder will have everything that you need. So when you look at this week's folder, you're going to find that we're kind of getting into introduction to what is theory, but we're also getting into our first theorist, which is John Dewey. So when you look, there's going to be a PowerPoint each week, and there's also going to be a document. Now, what I want to explain about these documents is that they're going to have some additional resources for you, but unless I actually ask you to do something with that document, it's for your resource. So for instance, if you click on the Dewey document, you're going to see that it says discussion questions and comments. You are not required to do anything with them other than use them as you're reading through these additional readings by John Dewey. So it really is kind of meant to help you focus as you're reading. So this particular resource has John Dewey's creed in here, what education is. It's a really fantastic document that I would recommend that you save, because as the book mentions, Dewey was kind of ahead of his time, and he went against the culture of students are supposed to be passive learners, and the teachers do all of the teaching, and the children are just kind of sitting there absorbing this knowledge. And what he said was, no, children should be active learners. They should have social interactions as they are going through their learning process. So it really kind of was ahead of his time. And so I think this is a really great document to save, because it's a great jumpstart into the other theorists we're going to be learning about. Some of the theorists are going to be very familiar to you, and some of them are going to be brand new, which is, some of them were brand new to me as well. But what I'm sure you have found over your years in college, especially in education, is that theory is always evolving. There's always somebody new that's coming out who's saying something about theory. And really what we find with theory is that most people take what was already started and then they change what they don't agree with to make a new theory, which is why if you look in this textbook, you find that there is a plethora of theorists that we're going to be learning about. So this is just kind of introduction to theory in general, because this is going to be a good springboard into the assignment that's being introduced this week. The discussion board, if there is a discussion board, and there is not a discussion board every single week. I think I have 5 or 6 set up throughout the course. where we really are going to hone in on a theorist that is highly visible in the educational field, as well as maybe some that we haven't talked as much about, but have some real value that we could discuss. So if there is a discussion board, it will be in the course content folder. So the last two things that I want to talk about quickly are the journals that you're going to be completing every week, and then this first assignment. So each week, what I'm going to have you do is complete a journal entry. And so I've tried to make it as user-friendly as possible, and the questions are going to stay the same every single week. The reason I'm having you do this is because your final paper is going to kind of be a culminating paper of all the theorists, what you agree with, what you disagree with. And so if you take the time to do the journals weekly, then when you get to that final paper, you've already done some of that analysis that you're going to want to use. So when you go into the journals, you're going to find that so far we have the Dewey Journal. When you click on it, all you have to do is create a journal entry. You can title it whatever you want. Actually type into this. Please don't attach a Microsoft Word document because then it's an extra step as I'm going through and grading. What I would recommend is to type your journal entries in Microsoft Word and save them on your computer. And so that way you've already done the work when it comes to that final paper. If you do it that way, all you have to do is copy and paste directly into this submission box and then click post entry. So every single week you are going to have a journal entry that you're going to do on that particular theorist. So, and as I said, the questions are going to stay the same. Summarize it, strengths, weakness, and then how can you personally apply this theory in the classroom. So finally, your first assignment, it's not going to be due for a couple of weeks, but I really want you to start thinking about theory first in general terms and then in educational specific terms. So basically what you're doing is you're going to be doing a little bit of research about what is a theory. So all of the instructions are here, but just to kind of pull a few things out. 3 to 4 pages is all I'm looking for. I am not expecting this to be a massive research paper. It is not your dissertation. This is an introduction to theory because we're going to be analyzing each theory each week. So 3 to 4 pages, and I would recommend at least 5 resources that you're going to use. But basically you're looking at 3 questions, and I will tell you that I'm a big fan of headings because I think it makes papers easier to read and to follow. So you have 3 points that you're addressing. You're going from very general to more specific. So the first one is, what is theory in general? What is it that would make a theory reliable and valid so it stands the test of time? Secondly, now you're going to say, how is it actually defined in the educational world? So what is educational theory? And then finally, how can educational theory be used practically in the classroom? And as I've said, I am such a big fan of making everything practical and applicable that I want everything that you do in this course to be able to help you be a better teacher. So as long as you fully answer those 3 questions, please make sure you're using APA guidelines. I've even told you what things to make sure that you have. If they don't apply, such as an appendix, you don't have to include them, but things like the title page, the header with page numbers, reference pages. If you want to do an abstract for this one, you can. I'm not going to require it, but it's good practice to get into. So as I said, you have a couple of weeks to work on this, but as we're getting into the course, I really want to make sure that you understand what theory is, because people throw that word around and they don't really understand that there's a scientific definition behind it that determines whether or not a theory is going to be reliable and valid. So that's what I want you to get into this week. So that's how each of the weekly course contents are set up. I also have the links to discussion board and journals. Anytime an assignment has been introduced, you're going to find it in the assignment folder, and that's where you can submit it as well. And then the last thing I have for you is a calendar. And so that way you can see each week when things are due. So as I said, everything's always due on a Sunday. And so I have it set up for the rest of the semester. So if you're ever unsure about when something is due, you can click on that calendar. So I think that's it for our first week. I look forward to working with you, and I will see you in